I think what happens as a pastor is when people come to you and say, how come your church isn't doing ... or our church isn't doing ... like maybe the church down the street is ... And I think even churches that maybe don't feel like, to the pastors out there that might listen to this, of very big churches, that feel like they don't have a spirit of competition. You can have a large church and actually create a spirit of competition when you're out there saying things like, come to our church because we're the ones who really teaches the Bible in this area. Or if you really want Bible teaching, come to our church. Or you should really be here on Sunday. As if people on social media shouldn't really be in their church or really shouldn't be doing. God has a unique call for every church, and God has not called any one man to pastor any particular group, any particular region. God calls many shepherds in many places, and there are many faithful churches. And so I think that oftentimes it can be very discouraging for pastors when what happens in a church, and we've said this before, but if I'm a steward means, we talk about pragmatism a lot with our leadership in our church. Pragmatism is the American philosophy that says that the ends justifies the means. So in the business world, I define the end, and then I determine how we're going to get to the end. In the church, we don't do that because we're stewards. We're not owners. So we don't determine the end. Christ determines the end. And then he entrusts the stewardship to us. So he brings the people. He brings the gifting. What a lot of pastors are out there doing, they're bringing worldly practices into the church, and they're trying to enforce their own vision. John Benzinger told me this one time. John, if you ever watch this, thank you.
Getting a couple plugs.
I know, he is. He said to me, he was talking to an older, wiser pastor.
I mean, he only has like 9 services for a weekend.
I know, yeah.
With this, well, add a couple more. The fan base we have.
I asked him one time, he was hiring a friend, and I said, hey, what are you going to hire him to do? And he said, well, this older, wiser pastor told me one time, don't hire people to do a job, hire talent and let them do whatever God calls them to do. Mm-hmm. And when he said that to me, it changed a paradigm for me. And I realized that, you know what, my job is to help people be what Christ has called them to be.
Amen.
It's not for me to set the agenda of our church. I was trained in ministry to do that. I've shifted in the last 7 years, and I have friends that don't do that, or still do that. I have friends that think it's all about their vision, and they try to control the narrative, and the church is supposed to be set up this way. I think that is bad stewardship because they're not being faithful with what God has given them. They're trying to control everything to produce a particular outcome. That's not the guy I want to be anymore. I want to be the guy that is faithful with everything the Lord gives me. And just be able to say to the Lord at the end of the day, hey, this is what you gave me, and I was as faithful as I could. And I didn't try to manipulate what you gave me, and I didn't try to control the outcome of what you gave me. I let you be the Lord, and I was the steward. You be the owner, and I was the one that was in charge of what you own and what you decide.